In Tampa Bay on Sunday, a torrential downpour caused conditions where most quarterbacks would absolutely fold. But instead, Saints quarterback Tyler Shough just announced himself as the Saints' future. In a 3-10 season where it's all about the future, this is the kind of performance that can change a franchise's direction. We'll jump into the Saints film room and I'll show you exactly how. I'm Tim. Let's talk Saints. So I think this was the call of the day. And don't get me wrong, it was a really good run by Tyler Shough. But I think the play of the day was the second touchdown. But on this view right here from the sideline, the all 22, you can kind of get the best view of our offensive line from tackle to tackle running on this read option in inside zone look. Inside zone, you pretty much think of the offensive line as a door swinging open where they try to push the defense towards one of the sidelines to create that inside zone running lane. And then when we get to the end zone view in just a second, you'll see the effect of it and how well designed this play was. And also, just equally as important, how well executed this play was by just about everybody on the field and our quarterback, not only making a great run on this, but making the right read. So from the end zone view, we're in a 3 tight end look right here, but it's actually 12 personnel. Moreau and Hill on the offensive left. Vele is lined up on the slot right off Awesome Richards. Estime was split wide to the left. He's now in the process of motioning into the backfield. Chris Olave is split wide right. So as this motion comes in, here's the read option. I showed you that look earlier, so you can see that offensive line is already making that push and the door's kind of swinging open. And the person they're setting the option off of is Lavonte David. Moreau and Hill are coming out to pick up Winfield Jr., the safety that's stacked right behind him. And he makes a great read right here because here's where Vele is important. Vele is coming in backside to seal the backside, and there's nothing there to seal because everyone on the field right now is thinking Estime has the ball. And right at this spot, Lavonte David is realizing, no, he doesn't. The quarterback pulled it. He's already getting himself out of position because had this ball been handed off, he's going to light up Audric Estime. So now he's got a reverse field. Shough's already getting past him. You got the great seal block from Hill. Moreau doesn't really need to do much here. He just checks the backside, and now he's running out. There's a great seal block by Vele on the corner. So now you have a running lane. The only player in this play right now is Lavonte David, and perhaps one of the best things that happens is a tight end making a veteran move. Don't do anything stupid and draw a penalty right here. Moreau just puts a hand on him for a second, lets him go, slows him down enough. Now the safety has to come all the way from the other side of the field. And he's got a pretty good angle on Tyler Shough. And when I was watching this live, I thought, we're going to be first and goal. But Tyler Shough has shown some running ability at times, but I didn't know he had this type of running ability. The safety is just there too late to do anything. Really, really good execution across the board by everyone. And then Shough, most importantly on a read option, making the right read, realizing David had looked into Estime. He was the only one that could really deal with Shough as long as Shough got the blocking, and Shough definitely got the blocking. Tyler Shough, 13-yard scramble for a touchdown, the go-ahead score, the game-winning score in the fourth quarter. And we're going to start with the all-22 again because just to show you, and this is very early in the play, we barely snapped the ball and done anything, and we had issues in the middle of the line. I'll show you that in a second. The end zone view really shows it. But he's got nothing. This play is designed to go right. All of our receivers are going right, trying to stress the defensive left. And he didn't have time to throw the ball, and nobody's broken open yet. They're still getting in their routes and setting everything up. And he's got to go to his left, knowing full well there's not a receiver over there that's going to be able to help him. Going to send Johnson in motion. That sets up Vele. Is going to check Anthony Nelson, give him a chip, and he's kind of the safety valve because he's the, if you remember from the all 22 view, he was kind of wide open on a cross, but right at the line of scrimmage. He was going to be the check down on this play and never gets to it. Vita Vele absolutely destroys Fortner and Ruiz, crashing through a double team. Now, if you back this up for just a bit, they're running a twist. Over here, Logan Hall was actually the edge defender outside of Vele. He is twisting around Vele. Vele has blown this thing up by himself, and that allows Hall is going to get around. Fortner's got his back to him, trying to deal with Vele, helping Ruiz out. So he's now got a free run at Shough, who's looking right at him. Winfield's coming from the secondary, and Will Sherman does a good job of picking him up at right tackle. This is when Awesome Richards had hurt his ankle, and he was out for the rest of the game, and we moved the backup guard to right tackle. He picks up the blitz. So everything wrong with this play is coming from right up the middle. And it gives Shough no chance. So he's going to roll out of there. He's got no choice. He's got to go left. He shucks Vele, or Hall rather, breaks Vele's tackle, and then Anthony Nelson has a last-second shot on him, and everybody remembers Anthony Nelson. He terrorized us in that first Tampa Bay game, and he misses. And now it's just a foot race with a defensive lineman. But what I like about this, corner is coming up. If Shough decided to take this to the sideline and step out and try to reach the ball over the goal line and see if he could score before he goes out of bounds to save himself with a shot, I don't think anybody would have minded. Nope. He's playing it like a running back, man. He's getting the shoulder down and he's diving for that pylon. He's going to take a hit right here. Tough and grit. Tough day to be a quarterback, throwing the ball, running the ball, having to deal with basically the interior of your offensive line collapsing on you. And, again, it was just one of those days where Shough and the offense collectively kept getting handed lemons, and they kept figuring out a way to make lemonade with it. So talking about a tough day to be a quarterback in this conditions, the elements and the team you're playing against, and having some toughness and grit. We're in the 4-minute offense right now in the fourth quarter. We have a lead. We have the ball. We're trying to take this all the way home without giving it back to Tampa Bay and giving them one last shot to tie the game. First one is a third down, 3rd and 6 with 4 minutes and 2 seconds left to go. Shough gets Vele coming out of the slot, gets a completion to convert on 3rd down. Tampa Bay was simulating pressure. Now, both these, actually, they simulate pressure, but they only rush 4. Even with that 4-man rush, our offensive line was making it as tough on Shough as they could. So snap of the ball, everything looks okay, but on the left side, we have Yaya Diaby and Anthony Nelson on a twist. And Radin picks up Diaby, twisting around. But luckily, no flag is thrown for the chokehold right here, but Diaby's fighting right through it. Now, this is the point where Vele is breaking over the middle on the cross. He's going to be wide open in the middle on the zone that Tampa was running, and we kept getting plays across the middle. Shough's got to wait on it, but he full well knows number 0 is about ready to give him a shot. And he sits in there and takes it and throws a dime right into Vele, makes the catch, end up picking up 11 yards on that play, 5 more than we needed. We get the conversion. We get the chance to keep the drive going, keep burning more clock, try to take this thing home without ever giving the ball back to Tampa Bay. So 2 plays later, and we find ourselves in a 3rd and 5. There's 2 minutes, 33 seconds left to go in the game, and we've got to pick up another 3rd down right here. We pick this one up. We're pretty much going to get this thing to the 2-minute warning. Even if Tampa Bay gets the ball back, which they did, there's not going to be much time left on the clock, which there wasn't, and they were going to have to do it backed up in their own territory with no timeouts, which they couldn't do. This was one of the biggest plays of the day to make sure you've nailed down the win. And once again, like we mentioned, simulating a little pressure look, only sending 4. Got a twist on the offensive left. Our converted guard trying to handle right tackle is just getting bull rushed back into Shough. Vele was in the slot again this time, but instead of crossing, he takes an out route, a deep out, and is wide open. And as Shough is trying to release the ball, Sherman is pushed back so far that there's no follow through on that throw. He's got Shuck's arm. Somehow he manages to get a ball close enough to Vele where Vele can make one sensational catch right here. Pick up the first down where we only needed 5. We get 13. We get it to midfield. It's going to go, like I said, to the 2-minute warning. They're not going to have any timeouts left, even if they get the ball back. This was a huge, huge play, and I am just amazed that with his arm getting hit, no follow through really on this ball, no really step into the throw on an out route, he still manages to laser this thing close enough to where Vele can not only make the catch, but in a lot of these instances, you'll see a ball going out in that direction when pressure comes like that and there's no step up, no follow through, flutters out there. And instead of getting the completion, you need to basically seal the game. They get a pick going the other way, which would have been bad news because it would have been a tie game had that happened. Twice on third down, has to get the ball to Vele, manages to do it, taking shots on both of them. Grit, toughness, determination, as Demario Davis said post-game press conference about Tyler Shough, he has it. And I think that it really showed up both these plays when Shough realized I'm getting hit smack in the face on both of these, and I've got to eat it because I've got to get the ball to Vele and convert these third downs. You're going to see here, they're showing single high man, and I think this is where the miscommunication was. Shough is expecting both the outside receivers to run go routes. So as he's dropping back, he's just looking at the safety. He looks left. He's holding that single high safety to the middle of the field, expecting one-on-one on the outside. He's looking for Olave deep, but Olave curled up underneath. So therefore, the only guy actually running the route was the cornerback. And another look here. Looking middle, left, back to the right, expecting Olave to be down there on the go route. Not there. But good job by Shough to hold the safety in the middle of the field where you want to hold him to attempt to pass. That miscommunication, if Olave keeps running the route, got a one-on-one situation there. And if Shough recognizes that Olave is going to break the route off because he'd have been wide open right there for a pretty easy pitch and catch. This sort of thing, these two get this ironed out exactly how they want to operate in this situation with single high man. It should be fine. But fortunately for us, learning experience for both of them, and it didn't come back to haunt us or cost us the game. So I think it's kind of important we, real quick, wrap up the numbers that Shough had on the day because the numbers were good when put in the context of the basically monsoon they played in for the majority of the game. He finished the day 13 for 20, 65% completion percentage. If you adjust for drops, throwaways, and spikes, but I think he only had two or three drops. There were no throwaways or spikes. It goes up to 79%. Pretty good stuff right there. Baker Mayfield, by comparison, was less than 50%, and then even with his adjusted, he was nowhere near 79. Total was 144 yards. His air yards were good. He was able to make some big time clutch throws in that horrible weather. Did throw an interception. That miscommunication. Talked about how when we broke it down, just two players, and I think they both recognized single high safety with man. Obviously, Olave knew for sure he was in man. And that might just been something as simple as the play would normally, under normal conditions, be take the deep shot to Olave, but in the brutal weather, and more importantly, something that needs to be acknowledged, you had an officiating crew that just was not interested in throwing pass interference calls on the defense from the first play of the game when Olave was horribly interfered with on what would have likely been a long touchdown against man. So whatever that was, in if Shough realizes he's breaking off the route, it's an easy first down pickup and with some yards after catch. Or if Olave just goes with the continues with the go route and less percentage pass play, I get it, but a chance for a much bigger hit. And, who knows how it would have turned out. But overall, as long as they get stuff like that fixed, I don't like the turnovers, and I really need to stop seeing them from Shough. But if it's a learning experience and you still able to win the game, just please make sure you learn from it. His rushing, 7 carries, 55 yards. That included 2 kneel downs. So I'm not sure what he lost on the yardage on the 2 kneel downs. Likely total of 2, maybe 3 yards at the most. That's some really good numbers running the ball. That was that 34-yarder, longest play the Saints had all year out of the running game. And that is explosive coming from your quarterback. And I think it was a big play and a great call by Kellen Moore, because once they realized there was going to be some read options and some ability for him to, with a design run, drop a play like that on him, I think it caused some concerns for the defense and changed some things up for him, and that helped us, especially down the stretch. Another thing, on third down conversions, passing-wise, 9 attempts. There were some sacks in there, but overall, I think it was 14 total attempts that he made. But overall, on third down conversions, did pick up 5 for 9 when he was able to make an attempt. So, pretty good conversion rate, and video breakdown of the 2 big clutch ones on that 4-minute offense, trying to get that game under control. And one of the ones they missed was the one that never should happen on third down, the last one before we punted. The monsoons had opened up again. They had a brief window when it had quit raining for a little bit in the fourth quarter. That went away by Cat Terrell's tweet at the 2-minute 24-second in the fourth quarter. That play happened right after that, and that was just a disaster in the making, and it almost was. Luckily, we survived it, gave the ball back up, and the defense held. Overall, just when the PFF grades became final today, his overall PFF, 83.7. His passing, 74.8. And that's with that interception sitting in there. So likely would have been higher if they communicate, not miscommunicate on that play. Running at 82.4%. Just all pretty much, if you got that in the run of a mill of a game in the dome under pretty much perfect conditions, you'd be like, ah. But in that game, the fight he showed, took some shots to get completions, and I only showed you a couple of them. He got hit a lot that day, put himself out on the line, and especially on that scramble, which was just phenomenal. His whole entire effort on that, because quite honestly, he didn't get much help on those 13 yards. That proved to be the game winner. So, to wrap this up, just looking at a 3-10 season, this is just, and we've been talking about this for a while, it's coming down to, look, keep finding that foundation for beyond 2025, 2026. Hopefully is when you realize in 1 year's time, we've got some of the pieces we need. As the miscommunication shows, you're going to get some growing pains involved in it, especially with a rookie quarterback and a lot of young players around him. But it's the kind of thing you just have to deal with it. You have to go through these growing pains. But looking on the far end, going and something to Mario Davis, not only saying that Tyler Shough had it, but something he also said in postgame was not all 3-10s look alike. And he said, if you really watch the film, this is a different 3-10. There's a lot of fight on this team. There's a lot of heart. There's a lot of grit. And I think, you kind of tie that together, what he's talking about, and watching what Shough did, going, franchise quarterback, it's a little too early to put the mantle on any quarterback in his rookie year by doing that. But I think at this point, what you're hoping to see is some real signs, not only of ability, which he's shown, leadership, that toughness, that guy that's just going to go out and show the team, I'm one of you, even though I'm the quarterback. And let's go make some plays, and I'm going to do whatever I can do to help us win games. I think that's a foundation we really need right now. We're not going to make the playoffs, and everybody's concerned about draft picks, but I said this from the beginning that this season could potentially be rough, and it turned out to be one. Part of that foundation has to be finding ways to win games. And it doesn't get any tougher finding a way to win a game than it did in that madness on the road in Tampa on Sunday. And so that's why just bringing up the stats and the numbers, and just to reiterate, I think the stats, the grades, anybody that is showing, putting on film and putting numbers out there that taken in context of what they were dealing with shows a lot. Something you can build on. 3-10, the foundation. This is about building right now. So I think this game gives me like realistic optimism, I guess is the best way I can explain it. And I hope I'm not fooling myself any or allowing myself to get caught in the trap, because I'm very hesitant. I've been excited about Tyler Shough, but less so in the videos that we're doing or the film rooms we're talking about him, because it was always just part of me holding me back going, I don't know. I'm not really sure. Is this a mirage? You can't fake anything that went on in that hellhole they were playing in Tampa Bay on Sunday. And do what he did to come out with a win, to make some of the plays. And you need your quarterback, if this is the guy you're going to build around, to make plays. And I always said the toughest thing is for a quarterback to show when we need to climb on my back and I'll make some plays and pull some of you guys along, and we'll win games because of it. Not even franchise quarterbacks, just top quarterbacks in the league will do that occasionally. So feel like we're seeing glimpses of that, and that is something we should get excited. And as Honey Badger put a tweet out last week, I believe it was, when he said the fans and the media and all, this was prior to this game, obviously, need to rally around Tyler Shough. He's the guy. So that's coming from a player who was in that locker room just not too long ago. So we'll see how it pans out, but this is the type of game I'm excited that we won it. I didn't think there was any chance we could win it. And once the game started playing out in the conditions where we're playing in, there was a little more hope, because a lot of times weather like that it's more of a hindrance to the better team than the not as good team. But even then, I'm like, I don't know. They had me believing by the third quarter, and they had me believing a lot and hoping a lot by the fourth. It's all good signs, all good things to build around. Most important thing, I think, in this wrap up is to mention, cannot regress. Have to keep doing these type of things and building over these last 4 games, because one bad game of regression, well, a lot of hopes and dreams could go up like that. So ask you right now, drop it down in the comments, which Shough plays, give you the most hope for 2026. 34-yard TD rumble was a big one, but to me, that 13-yard just avoiding 3 sacks, and when you're Vita Vele and Nelson being 2 of them, going 2 of the 3 sacks he avoided, and then turning that around into 13 yards and a touchdown, and more importantly, showing, that was the true grit that I really saw. Putting that shoulder down and making sure he got that ball in the end zone. So like I said, if he'd have stuck it out and stepped out on the one and they'd have put it inside the 1-yard line, I wouldn't have been upset, because, hey, quarterback, protect yourself and all that other stuff. But at the same time, I tip my hat to him, going, he didn't care about any of that. We're scoring a touchdown. We're going to win this game. Kind of leadership and mentality we really, really need it somewhere in the offense. Maybe we found it. So let me down there. Those 2 or any other play that you saw, what's convincing you? What was the best play you saw from Sunday? So first time here, you like what you saw, please like, share, subscribe. I think pretty much for the rest of the year, I'll probably be doing more stuff with film review once I get the all 22 on Mondays. Hopefully no more trouble with NFL.com and getting it. Because I think that's really what we're looking at over these last 4 games, and not just Shough. It focused a lot about him, and I was really hoping to talk about Neal and a few others, but the way that game turned out, and then once I really started watching some of the stuff that went on in film, I was like, first one's got to be about Shough. I'm sorry, but it has to. But Neal turned some heads. Vele still sitting there doing the things we need him to do, not to mention some of the young players on defense. So we'll try to get through that throughout the week. Maybe I can try to do a bunch of smaller videos that might be a little easier. Just keep your eye on it. So till I see you next time.